So yeah, no, this shirt I got at Game Days, the one we did.
Yeah, the most super awesome game days that there ever was.
Oh yeah, I had a ton of fun. That was as close as I've ever gotten to working at a booth at a con.
And those days might continue again. We'll see. We might
Yeah.
be working a lot more booths in the future.
I hope so, yeah. And yeah, so are you ready to talk a little more about your plans for the future of Super Awesome Showdown? How about you tease a little bit of it, not the whole plan?
Plans. When Super Awesome Showdown. I'm not even sure if this is still a Super Awesome Showdown podcast.
Hey,
but
it's a Super Awesome Showdown offshoot, as far as I'm concerned.
It's like a what do you call it? A
spin-off?
Spin-off.
Yeah.
Spin-off.
Hey, listen, and spin-offs can go right back into it. You ever see the Angel?
Yeah.
It tied back into Buffy a bunch.
Yeah. So yeah, this spin-off from Super Awesome Showdown. When let's be optimistic and say when on air it comes back. Let's not use the word if.
Endless optimism is our game here.
It's going to be slightly different, and it's going to be more organized beast, and it'll be marketed a lot better, I think. And yeah, it might focus more on the cons and the merchandise and stuff, and be one of those monsters, you know.
Ooh, hey, listen, I think
a merchandise con monster.
Hey, I think if we can put out more content for the fans, that's what we should really, because we can put on a show. And speaking of putting on a show, welcome to the Transmit Podcast, a Super Awesome Showdown offshoot. I'm your host, Spike.
I'm Victor.
And today we're going to start talking about some movies we saw recently.
Yes.
Okay, so
what's the favorite movie? The first
honestly,
movie.
Favorite movie. It's going to be hard to say because they're both like shot in a very interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
So how about we start here? I'm going to start rolling into this one. We saw Gentleman last week.
The Gentleman. Oh, yes.
Play a game with me, Ray.
I don't want to play a game.
Oh, please.
No.
I said play a game with me, Raymond.
Right.
This movie was a ton of fun because it was shot out of order, kind of.
Yeah.
And it's all told like a screenplay pitch to these criminals. And they're, let me tell you, it's got, what's his name? I totally spaced on
Hugh Grant.
It's got Hugh Grant as that guy, and you can barely recognize him. I thought he was the guy from, who's the Lieutenant Gordon in the Dark Knight series.
Oh, yeah.
And no, the all right guy. I always space his name.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it's got Matthew McConaughey doing just... At this point, all he does is a Matthew McConaughey impersonation, right?
But our protagonist.
Yeah, it's if Matthew McConaughey was a drug dealer, is what this movie was.
Yeah, and what I like about this, it's that style of crime drama where it's it's not even a drama really. It's like a comedy drama, where you're following criminals and they're hard criminals willing to do bad, but they're like doing kind of crime you don't really mind. And they're only doing violence to people who kind of deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he even, like, McConaughey says to the guy who deals in, like, opium, like, your drug is a destroyer of worlds. Mine is Sweet Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there like, yeah. And
all right.
All right. But he's also, like, he can be super vicious as a necessity of his crimes. So I don't want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, the Hugh Grant...
Mm-hmm.
is basically a slimy PI working for a tabloid, he's dug up all this dirt on Matthew McConaughey's gang, and he's got the guy from Sons of Anarchy. Who's that?
I do not know that guy.
The beard. I know the movie Bob described that as a podcaster's beard, which you can tell I'm trying to grow right now. Right.
Ha.
So yeah. Oh God, it's Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, that would be a better credit.
What would be a better credit? It's Charlie Hunnam, and he's like a lot of the movie shot from his perspective, really, because he's the one who gets this pitch who's for blackmail for like millions of dollars because McConaughey is going to be retiring soon.
Yeah,
and the way it ends is really cool, and it's this director, he has this style of like all the film only like comes together at the very end, right?
Yeah, it all kind of. A crescendo at the end.
Yeah, but you think... Go ahead.
A crescendo of, I was just to say like moments and all the plots and stuff, all the twists.
Right.
Everything comes together.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, you don't get a full picture. You think, this one you think you got a full picture?
Uh-huh.
but then like then there's this whole like going back and then like oh this reveal.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil too much of it, but the only problem I had was at the very end. What I didn't know was those boxing guys who robbed McConaughey at first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I didn't know why they were there, but then they explain it later. Well, no, they don't explain it later. I had to look it up, but that was the only thing. It was kind of layered and clever, but a little too much though, because it was too quick with that one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good movie. The plot is definitely something that'll keep you hooked the whole way through. It's not boring. It's the way it was shot is meant to keep you kind of like watching and wanting to learn more and know what happens. And they set up a villain who I don't want to give it away, but is of less consequence than you think he's gonna be.
Exactly.
And so it kind of does that whole thing. And then there's another true villain. But basically it's like, see, I thought it was business, but I heard someone else talk about it's kind of like he's a king and then he's like a monarch, right? He's like the king of...
there's a lot of that in there, yeah.
But then he's got like his people that work under him, like the Sons of Anarchy guy. Who was that again?
It's God. You think I'd remember it from like a minute and a half ago? Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam is the one who does all like the true footwork for the king. And then you've got the queen.
You got the queen definitely
in that too. So maybe there's kind of like a monarchy kind of.
And
feel
they are in. This takes place in Britain or in the UK,
in England. Yeah.
And well, I don't think it's like too much of a reveal that. The way he like grows his weed in the country where there's and they make a point of this, like all these drones and people and it's like, well, I just go under the aristocrats' homes and just like use this existing monarchy system that's still hanging around.
Yeah. And that's precisely what they kind of were going for is that like, yeah, you've got like this facade of like money, but really, you know, they're about to like all lose their homes and stuff.
Well, yeah, because that's
money keeps getting like cut in half and
that's
half
the problem.
Yeah,
with an inheritance tax like that is like, well, we're just gonna take half of your family's shit.
And then it keeps going down.
It's like
unless you're creating new wealth.
Yeah.
Which an American man comes in,
boom, and does
yeah,
with ingenuity and the free market of the free black market.
Yeah, so. And but it also kind of talks to the fact that, you know, pot, everybody expects, it takes place now, right? In today's period. And pot is about to be legal everywhere.
It is. And
so it's going to be less lucrative as a like kind of an underground business. And it's going to be more lucrative because people are just going to be able to go down the street and buy it legally.
Yeah, well, yeah, the lucrativeness is going to change because he mentions prohibition, which is like, you know, if you go from zero to, okay, it's legal again, there's no infrastructure in place to fill that demand legally. So your black marketers will have an existing network or an existing like infrastructure to supply that demand, and so that's what he's kind of selling to one of the person who's going to buy him out. So I don't want to give away too much, but you know, it is one of those crime dramas where you sympathize with criminals because they're criminals, but they're criminals light.
Yeah. It's Matthew McConaughey is kind of like hard to dislike. Yeah, sometimes
he plays like a genius, like charming. He plays the same charming guy like he is in the Lincoln commercials, where he just sits there and see the king is as the king does.
So I'm the lion, and this is my jungle.
When the which is the king of the jungle. Like when the lion's hungry, he eats.
He eats this dragon, which I maybe a little
fuck off dragon. It's like not too much into that, but yeah, they're really great, and I did like the different look on race relations at that boxing gym. He calls his buddy a black cunt. He's like, is that racist? It's like, well, no, it's a statement of fact. You're black and you're a cunt. It's like, oh, okay. See, from him, it's in a term of endearment. So, like,
but they had to explain it, which is
just to make sure for American audiences. Whoa. He's not racist. It's a different society. Let's all chill out, bro.
Another thing I want to bring up about that movie that I noticed was the lack of kind of like guns in kind of like the gang world. Yeah,
they had guns when they needed them. Like the second hand with the guy. I keep forgetting his goddamn name. I don't subject it to memory. Christian or Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam.
Hunnam. Hunnam, Hunnam. Well, yeah, most of the time he doesn't have a gun. Most of the time, none of them like brandish a firearm. It's UK. But then when he's like chasing someone down and he needs something from them, let's not spoil too much. He pulls out that MP5 and just shoots it. Silence. He just shoots it in the air.
Yeah, but like because he's like a top gangster.
Yeah,
but like kind of the low guys, they're just fighting.
Yeah,
so they have to learn how to fight and brawl, basically.
Yeah, so they're proper hard people.
Yeah.
So it's not like here where it's like, well, you could be a gangster if you can get your hands on a gun. You can't fight? That's fine. Get a gun.
Just get a gun. Anyone could be a gangster here in America.
Yeah, totally. It's just, are you cool with noise? Because they're noisy. That's the only downside.
And very lethal. So
super lethal.
You could go to actual prison.
Yeah, you could. Well, I mean, listen, if you beat someone to death, you could also go to prison. Let's
True, really but like you can incapacitate people and stuff. It's a slightly safer kind of gang world.
So wait,
but they did have a lot of knives though.
They had a lot of knives.
Murder people if they can shank people to death.
England does have an issue with knife violence to the point where judges around there are saying, "Hey, we should make it illegal to have pointed kitchen knives."
Wow,
it's getting nuts over there. But here, before we move on, would you recommend seeing it?
Yes,
I would too.
And in theaters, not sure, but you know what? I think it's a good theater experience.
It is a good theater experience.
It should be seen on the big screen.
Yeah, it's not necessary, but you will get a good experience out of it.
If you're a movie-going person, then yeah, go see it on the big screen. It's something a little different. We're seeing a lot of different movies now. Not all the superhero stuff is kind of out of the water.
Everyone's taking a break.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we move on? We saw another movie, 1917, and this one had a really interesting gimmick. So here, how about we load up? Boom.
In your own time, gentlemen.
Must be something big if the General's here.
So the setup's pretty simple.
In the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir.
I just realized this is like another British
into a trap.
Right?
Your orders
That's
are
true.
to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
Let's just bring that down. So yeah, basically the setup is these two soldiers, one who has a brother in another regiment. They have to go there to stop an attack because this is before they had like radios, you know?
That's what I was thinking the whole thing. It's like they have to send two guys to send this message. It's like, don't they have like radio?
No, not yeah. Apparently, no. They see it. That's the weird thing is like World War II radar was a new thing. So like this is no, they didn't. Remember they said they cut all our phone lines. This is like a Seinfeld setup, you know, like all these scenarios could be solved if they had cell phones. Like pretty much all of their things, like where are they? I don't know. How do we reach them? I don't know. Let's go on a little New York adventure, and this is kind of like that, except with more lethality. So
lethality, huh?
Yes, and it really does capture that feel of what you picture World War I was like.
Mm-hmm.
And the gimmick is that it's all done in one take, and I thought that was a really cool gimmick. Even though we know it was camera tricks done to achieve that effect, I counted like 4 breaks that you say, oh, that's where they break.
Yeah, in time, right?
Well, yeah, one was like when he got knocked out. Another one was when they like panned from that initial bunker scene over to him. Like it goes black for a second when he like pulls the curtain aside so he can leave.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a few frames of pure black.
Yeah.
So it was things like that. Sometimes when they like blurred the camera a little bit, you know.
Well, there's one. I don't want to give it. It's a critical point in the movie. There's one scene when they're at like a farmhouse, right?
Oh yeah. They go through that.
And then
orchard.
there's like a big action scene in the farmhouse.
Yep.
Involving planes.
Yeah, that's in the trailer. That bit.
Yeah, and then when it pans to the next scene.
Yeah.
It kind of does kind of like an artistic pan to like a completely different location.
Yeah, he goes away and then they pan back and something has happened.
Yeah, so there's no actual like dark cuts. And then when he's like traveling with the other soldiers, there's a scene where like our main character is on a
truck.
A truck,
yeah,
right?
Military truck
with a bunch of other soldiers. And we know that the ride is supposed to take like hours,
right?
But they just kind of make it take like a few minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they weren't. I think this was a much smaller movie than you may have thought, because you're thinking of like what you see now in movies where they hop in a truck and suddenly they're in a whole different geographic area. Yeah. This took place over like the course of what must have been like El Cajon, basically. I'm betting.
Well, yeah. I mean, the movie was about like what, 2 hours?
It was about 2 hours,
But I feel like the actual story
in film
took place
time.
like maybe over a couple days.
Maybe over the they had
Right?
like a day and a half, maybe at most, to call off an attack because he did get knocked out.
Yeah.
So that was one of the times where he gets knocked out and then he wakes up and it's dark.
So yeah, the plot of the movie is just two guys have to go out
across and like no man's land,
no man's land.
and they don't have Wonder Woman there to help him out.
Yeah, it's because it's a little bit more based in reality than Wonder Woman.
That wasn't a historical documentary.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to read it. I understand now why I failed that history class. Okay,
Yeah, you thought Wonder Woman was in it.
I thought
But,
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, so then they have to go and basically deliver this message to save the troops.
By hand.
That's basically, you learn that in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
And everything else is just tension.
So yeah, it relies heavily on cinematography and like cool shots.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
Great action scenes and stuff, and and tension.
Yeah, and I like the cyclical nature. Like it starts out like that with that trailer is he wakes up on a tree, and then it ends with him like taking a nap against a tree.
Yeah.
So the spoiler alert: someone survives.
It was a great film, and there's some great cameos, even though it has
there's a whole
it
bunch
focuses basically on one character.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great cameos throughout the film.
Yeah, every a lot of British actors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like they had the guy who was the bad guy from Shazam.
Yeah, he's in it.
He's in it.
Doctor Strange is in it.
Doctor Strange. Yeah, he's
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, he's like, this is the only way this war, and with his beautiful voice, is when last man standing.
Last Man Standing. Is that in the trailer?
That's not in the trailer, but it's not. No, it is in one of the trailers. Yeah.
Last Man. Yeah, World War I was a last man standing match, everybody.
Yeah. Well, apparently, yeah. The only one person survived World War One.
It's like, I won. I won, everybody.
Hey,
the last
hey,
one.
I did it. Where's my prize? It's like, you get to go back to your hovel. Oh. God, yeah, all World War One movies are like super depressing because we hadn't figured out how to fight war with the weapons we had. Like America learned a bunch during the Civil War, like because it was fought in a very advanced fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But no one else fought a war like that, so they're all still lining up and just run at the enemy.
Even though they have like missiles and like guns and stuff.
Yeah, they had like machine guns and shit and artillery, clear lines of fire. And it's like, oh boy,
they hadn't figured it out.
They hadn't quite figured it out yet.
And then they still had muskets too, like putting little blades
every
at the
now
end
and then. Well, that bayonet.
Bayonet.
Yeah, we have those today actually.
We do. Do you take bayonets into like war situations today?
Technically, sometimes you're not supposed to use them, but it's kind of murky on the rules of that. But yeah, no, like all M16s come with a bayonet lug.
Oh, cool.
And that's the thing. Like you see, like the Marine Corps training is like they say, okay, here's your M16. Here's the with a bayonet. Go stab these tires and run on.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool, and yeah, like, and in certain states, like that's how the law works out. You can have either like one of or two of three things, like a flash suppressor, actual suppressor, and or a bayonet lug. So it's really weird how gun laws work in this country. Like a lot of bayonet deaths, you know.
Bayonet deaths.
Well, because realistically, it does turn your gun into a spear, basically.
Yeah.
And would you rather fight a guy like from a foot and a half away or at arm's reach?
Probably foot and a half away.
There you go. Extra foot and a half distance is your friend.
Yeah. So, did he ever...
He never used the bayonet. Oh, shit, let's not spoil that.
Okay. But there's a really good scene in that where... How do I describe my favorite scene? It's kind of plotty.
Yeah.
But it's after one of the moments that you were talking about where we know it's like a clear delineation of time.
Yeah.
A guy gets knocked out and it's dark, right?
Yeah.
And we're sitting there in the dark.
Yeah.
As an audience, and we're like, what happens now? And then he wakes up, and it kind of makes you feel like that moment when you go to sleep during the day.
Oh yeah.
And then you wake up and you're like, is it the next morning already, or
God,
what?
I hate that feeling.
Because it's just like 5 o'clock or something, but you're like, did I sleep the whole day?
It's winter. You took a 20-minute nap, and it's like, oh shit, what do I gotta do?
Yeah.
And your sleep schedule's all off now, and you're okay. I gotta get my lunch ready. I gotta shower, and then you look at the clock. It's like, oh my god, it's already 7. Shit. Oh wait, that's PM. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, that used to happen a lot when I was in high school and stuff. But yeah, like that. Even when I was in my 20s, but it kind of made me feel like that. That scene kind of made you feel like that for a second. Like, what time is it?
Yeah, because this movie conveys like that tension really well.
Yeah.
Because you're under this ticking clock. You have to get over there, or a lot of people are going to die.
Yeah, and then so like he's in this bombed out city. All that remains are arches in a lot of the buildings.
Like a lot of stone bits.
Because arches are pretty strong.
They're pretty good.
Structure. So
yeah.
like things get blown up, everything falls except the
the
arches
arch.
remain.
Oh yeah, and that was beautiful. Like
Yeah, so there's
built-
arches. It's like a beautifully destroyed city. There's like flares or like planes flying over,
Oh yeah.
casting light, and then the shadows move across.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like running straight down the middle because he's trying to get to like the where he's trying to get to.
He's gonna get to that regiment that's gonna get like killed.
And he keeps getting shot at. It's really an awesome scene. I think that's the best scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
A really awesome score comes on too and plays over it.
Oh yeah, so beautiful.
So I think that was like the money shot of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, listen.
But it was a great movie.
Yeah, I would
otherwise.
recommend like see that on a bigger screen. Like
Yeah, if you can see it in the big screen.
do that, and if you can't buy a projector, blow it up in your backyard. Boom.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't want to throw around masterpiece too much. A modern masterpiece.
Maybe not a modern masterpiece, but it is it's a really good bit of cinema and with a really cool gimmick
Yeah,
at the very least.
Another thing I thought about when seeing that movie.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to wrap it up here, but was the way movies will be shot and experienced in the future might be more of like a VR experience.
Yeah, especially as that becomes more commonplace in everyone's home.
And so the continuous shot will have to be something that filmmakers will probably have to do.
Oh yeah.
More because you don't want to have cuts when you're immersed in a VR kind of situation.
Oh no, yeah, that's like the worst bit.
So like there's a cut and then you're here and then you're down here, it'll be kind of jarring. But if you have kind of like this movement where you're kind of like with the characters, you're floating around and you're kind of one of the characters in the movie,
Yeah.
then that'll probably lend itself better to like a VR kind of experience rather than the way movies are shot traditionally as of right now.
Yeah, I think there'll be room for both in cinema, but I think there will be this style might be more prevalent as video games have more of an effect on how we view immersion, basically. I think you're very much right about that. All right, so how about we're gonna look at a trailer next episode. So how about we wrap this one up, and then we'll do our next episode right now. Oh yeah, by the way, we stack these up.
What?
What?
We're not going to wait another week to talk?
And we normally do for purity's sake, but we have lives. So that being said, thanks for tuning in to the Transmit Podcast. I'm your host Spike.
I'm Victor.
See you next time.